The gentleman from Colorado, Mr. Lamborn, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you all for being here. NASA and the U.S. Geological Survey have been working together to develop new technologies to detect and assess off-world mineral resources. Universities like the Colorado School of Mines, which hosts the nation's only space resources program, is also researching how to detect, assess, and utilize resources in space. These advanced technologies would likely have applications for domestic industries as well. Dr. Milazzo, how is NASA and USGS working with other federal partners like the Department of Commerce and Department of Energy to advance technologies that could support a new generation of low-impact, critical mineral extraction and production here on Earth?
Thank you, Congressman, for that question. I'm hesitant to speak for either NASA or the USGS. I was an employee of the U.S. Geological Survey some years ago, but now I'm no longer a civil servant. So I hesitate to speak for them about what its they are working on right now. The reality is that we have a lot of space-faring, Earth-pointed satellites that are helping to better understand resources and resource availability here on the Earth, across the Earth. And so the specifics of what the policies are and what the activities are right now, I am not fully informed of, so I want to be careful I don't speak for either of those agencies.
Okay, fine. Besides the investments we will need to make in technology, I know we will also need to be looking to academia to make investments in future jobs in space mining. In June, I co-led H.R. 4152, the Space Resources Institute Act, with fellow Colorado Representative Caraveo. The bill directs NASA and the Department of Commerce to report to Congress on options for establishing an institute related to space resources and to provide the necessary leadership in basic research, resource mapping, and technology development that could dramatically reduce the cost of commercial space missions, stimulate new industries, and maintain the United States leadership in space. So, Dr. Audrey, what federal support is needed to encourage and leverage private sector investment and research into a more robust U.S. strategy?
Great, thank you. I do want to acknowledge the Colorado School of Mines leadership on this topic and my colleague George Sowers there in particular. They've done great work. As I stated in my testimony, I think reasonable amounts of R&D investment can help dual-use technologies that benefit mining both here on Earth and in space in a reasonable way, and it's not an excessive amount of money. I also think that we can look at working with academia to make sure that we address the issues that my colleague Dr. Milazzo has while moving forward in a timely manner, as Michelle Hanlon has mentioned, because if we don't, we will be ceding that field. It's also super important to make sure that we recognize some mechanism under which the mining operation sites and processing sites on a celestial body can be transferable and collateralizable so that debt investment as well as venture capital can come into this field and run it like a normal industry when it does emerge.
Okay, very good. And I also sit on the Armed Services Committee. We're concerned about what China is doing to become more aggressive in the Pacific and indeed in the entire world. So, Mr. Sunby, what are your biggest concerns when it comes to the fact that China is also in this race to secure the potential of rare metals from space resources?
My primary concerns is that the Chinese military the Chinese military essentially controls the entirety of their space program. Their space program has very little civil representation, essentially, and the People's Liberation Army is placed in authority to oversee their operations that will be conducted on the lunar surface. So when you see institutions such as the Lunar Research Organization that they've established with Russia, that institution will be staffed by military personnel. That is legal under the Outer Space Treaty, but it is highly concerning that that is the institution that will be overseeing all of their research and resource utilization and exploration on the surface of the moon.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.